In the course, you will receive course materials, study guides, homeworks, and so on in two forms. The first form is a web page, a web link on Blackboard. For example, if we go into Module 1 and then go into Study Guides, there is a link for the Part A of the Module 1 Study Guide. If we click on this link, it will open a web page that shows the study guide, which includes videos that you would like to see, instructions, and so on and so forth. And this form of the study guide is a great way to learn the course content as well as watch the videos. However, the study guide will also include activities, exercises for you to complete, questions for you to answer. And for that, you would like to have the second form of the study guide. The second form of the study guide is in the form of an R notebook. So if we want to see the Module 1 Study Guide A in our notebook form, we will click File, click Open File, double click the Study Guides directory, go to the module we want. In this case, it's Module 1, so we'll double click on that, and then you will see a file called Module 1 Study Guide A. It could be Study Guide B .rmd, and RMD is the extension for R Markdown or an R notebook. So we choose that and click Open, and this shows us the Module 1 Study Guide A in the form of an R notebook. Now, since we have to submit the study guide, we have to answer questions or carry out activities, exercises in the study guide and submit it, we should follow the instructions for submitting and pushing your changes, which means our first step should be to save a copy of this in the submissions directory under the directory of the module that we are in, which is Module 1. So we will say File, Save As, and we will navigate to our project directory, which is first name.last name, double click on submissions, double click on the module that you are in this case we are in Module 1, and then give this file the first name dot last name hyphen and the name of the study guide .rmd, and of course we should replace the last name. You should replace the last name with your last name. In my case it's Manu, and you should replace the first name with your first name, and in my case it's Manu, and then we click Save. Once we have saved a copy of the study guide under our name in the submissions and module directory, then we can begin to work in it. And I'd like to discuss what an R notebook is and what you can do with it. So an R notebook is a way of mixing text, software code, and output of software code in the same document. And so it's a very convenient way to both explain what you're doing, do it, which is write the code, as well as see the output or results of the code. So for example, I could say in this case we could have text which says insert a code block write code to print hello world in it and run the code. Now I can insert a code block with this menu, which inserts what are known as code chunks, and I can click on the C and choose R, and it inserts a code chunk. And in this code chunk I can say type some R code. So for example, we could say print hello world, and then I can run this chunk, and what it'll do is it will run this R code and print out the result below this code block. You could do something more sophisticated. For example, for this code chunk, instead of just simply printing out some text, I could make a plot. And so I could have code which says plot cars, and I can go ahead and run this chunk, and what this does is it produces a plot from a data set about cars. In this case, it's showing us the scatter plot of speed versus distance. Now it is possible with our notebooks to have rich text, with bold characters, italics, bulleted lists, and so on, the kind of stuff you have in Microsoft Word, except instead of using the graphical user interface to tell Word to make a word bold and so on, you use what's known as Markdown, which is you annotate what the text should appear as in the notebook itself. For example, if I wanted a word in italics, so I say systems biology, and I would like this to appear in italics, all I need to do is put asterisks around these two words. Now, within the editor, the text will appear as plain text, so you will just see asterisk systems biology asterisk. But if you wanted to render this and show what a finished document would look like, you would click the knit button up here. Now when I will click knit, it will open a new tab, and if your browser is blocking pop-ups, it won't open, and then you have to tell your browser to allow pop-ups to open. So once you click knit, it will knit the document, and in this case it was not able to open document because my browser is blocking pop-up windows. And what I can do is I can click cancel and then go here and say I'll always allow pop-ups and say done. And now the next time I click knit, it should open up a new window or a new tab showing me the compiled document. And you can see here that systems biology appears here in italics. We can close this. There is a better way to do this, but for that we'll have to change some settings. We could go to Tools, Global Options, R Markdown, and in this option, Show Output Preview in Window, instead of that we could choose Viewer Pane. Click Apply, click OK, and the next time we knit, instead of opening a new window, it will show us the document in the viewer window on the right in the output pane. And here we can see that we can see the code that we wrote, we can see the output of the code, and we can see markdown text. Now, let's say I wanted text in bold. That's 2 asterisks. So I could say systems biology. Let's knit it and see. And there you go. We have systems biology. You can have sections using the pound symbol. So this would be heading 1. That's the highest level of section headings. 2 pounds gives you heading 2. 3 pounds gives you heading 3. And so on. Let's knit and see. There you go. And you can create numbered lists, and it's as simple as just writing numbers with a period following the number. So I could say module 1, module 2, module 3. And if I wanted to have a nested list, I can use tabs and hyphens to put unordered or bulleted nested lists. It is even possible to create tables. So let's say we wanted a table of students with their heights. So we could add a title like student name. And note these vertical bars, which you can type with shift above the backslash key, they represent column dividers. Now, student names are text, and the convention is to have text as left justified. And in this table, you can do that by putting a colon on the left, and then hyphens represent horizontal dividers, and height, which is a number, is right justified, and therefore you can put a colon on the right. And let's see, so you could have Alice with a height of, I don't know, 68 inches. Bob with a height of 67 inches, and Charlie with a height of 72 inches. And when we knit this, we end up with a rather nice looking table with the titles in bold, text left justified, numbers right justified as we specified with the colons. And so our Markdown is a great way to create documents where you have rich text with sort of highlighting, bold, italics, tables, and so on, along with code and the output of that code, and we will be primarily using our notebooks as a way to conduct our in-class work through study guides as well as out-of-class homeworks and so on. And do remember to, once you have done the work, to save the notebook and then commit it and push it, as I showed in the other video, to submit your work.